Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington squared off with a panel of media executives and policy experts, including Newsmax CEO Chris Ruddy, broadcast executive Perry Legette, and media advocate Stephen Waldman, pressing them on whether mega mergers are really the answer to big tech's stranglehold on advertising revenue or just another power grab dressed up as a rescue mission. Meanwhile, the FCC, under Trump appointee Chairman Brendan Carr, appears to have already made up its mind, raising serious questions about the independence of our regulatory institutions.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I want to weigh in on that particular point before I start my question. I definitely believe the FCC should have a commission level if they are going to take action. I'm not making a statement as to whether they have that power or not. I'm simply saying if they do, it should be at a commission level. And I think that Chairman Carr has practically prejudiced himself in an information process that's supposed to be independent if he's already made a decision. So I don't like that. I don't like that. But let's start with something maybe we can agree on. Do the witnesses think that right now, I mean, because I look at these viewpoints, I'm kind of, last week I was where Mr. Waldman was. I was like, on this hand, on that hand, and what is it we really want to provide? And so, you know, I'm for elevating this larger context that big tech just has too much power. But I don't know. Do they have too much power in this marketplace, Mr. Ruddy?
Well, I think that consolidated big tech is a danger to the public interest. I think there should be more competition in big tech across the board. And there
I just meant as it relates to now preserving local journalism and how much of the business model. I mean, I think here you have a cord-cutting problem. Mr. Legette basically has a big moneymaker for himself right now, which I'm for. I am for broadcast sports. Not because the Seahawks won. I'm for broadcast sports because I do not want my consuming public to have to pay to see content they can just watch advertising to see. I want it to be cheaper. So I'm for not allowing these people to put so much content behind a paywall and making consumers pay out the nose for it. So, but anyway, so I just, on this point, do we need to do something here so that we have more level playing field? Are they the bigger issue here?
No, I think that local news is almost entirely by broadcast TV. Big tech creates almost no original local news.
But Mr. Legette,
so we need to protect the diversity and competition in that field.
Mr. Legette is telling you this is his moneymaker right now. And he's getting eaten alive on this because of what's happening, because of the digital advertising revenue.
They haven't made the case, I'm sorry to say, Senator, they have not made the case that big tech has hurt their businesses. Their businesses have grown 500% in the past decade. How do you explain that? That's all during the big tech period.
Believe it or not, I'm going to agree with you in a minute. But on this point, I don't, okay? Yeah. And so I think the point is, okay, does anybody else want to comment on this quickly? Because I have another question.
Look, big tech has entirely undermined the advertising model for local broadcasting.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
I think by eliminating some of these prescriptive rules, senators, what you do is you give the affiliates better bargaining power negotiating at the table. So they can, in their discussion with MVPDs, with big tech, they can say, we want more local control over programming.
Yeah, Mr. Waldman.
Yes, absolutely. Big tech is a big part of the reason for the undermining of the local news business model for TV and local news, and it's about to happen again with AI.
Right. So Mr. Legette's key point, though, is that and look, I've helped the broadcasters on good faith protections for broadcasters. I've actually sided with the broadcasters, on these issues that now, we're hearing complaints about. But again, in this world where the cord cutting and streaming media is leading to this, I'm not sure that I believe that consolidating people so that you could then own 3 TV stations in one media market and then basically decimate that media market without competition is the way to go. And so I have a concern, Mr. Waldman, that is where, to your question, which is you're asking us a question to consider, but I'm asking it back. Why would I want to support? Now, I'm not saying you have to have 3 TV stations in every media market, but I do want diversity. And why would I allow for more consolidation when our biggest problem has been concentration? Why would I go for that? Why would I go for this merger if, in fact, you're going to basically hand over more concentration, less diversity. And if that means somebody's going to do general programming and give me less, and Mr. Leggett, you made a good point about the number of eyeballs, a power of growing, because like digital did grow even with broadcasters. But that doesn't mean that we had all the local content or the diversity of voices. So isn't this the crux of the issue, that basically you're going to be able to own more media markets and concentrate own three TV stations and then basically decide how to blow them up and give me general programming from New York, which I don't want.
Which we are seeing more of. And, Senator Cruz quoted President Reagan a while ago. I would quote President Reagan on another point, which is trust but verify. Yes, in some cases, mergers might lead to more local news, but the evidence is that in many, many cases, it goes the other way, that it cuts local news. So if you're going to be, if Congress considers loosening these caps at all, it should be contingent on commitments that they maintain or increase the number of local reporters.
Okay, interesting. I mean, this is the crux here. We can't be for a merger just to get bigger to fight big tech on their eating up sports revenue, which they're putting behind a paywall that makes consumers pay more. I can't be for that. But I do think that we have to also, point out, Mr. Ruddy, that I really don't want so much concentration of this marketplace by 80% or whatever it is, ownership by these big corporations who then just generalize content out to my news stations. That's not even healthy for any of us in the ecosystem.
The National Hispanic Coalition did a poll in December, Democratic pollster, that found over 70% oppose the Nexstar merger and the consolidation. Only about less than 7% supported it. A recent Republican poll, Public Opinion Strategies, found, again, 75% opposition to consolidation, only 7%. So this is a bipartisan.
Well, I definitely support more diversity in voices. We got to figure out how we're going to get there. So, but anyway, I appreciate, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
What we witnessed today was Senator Maria Cantwell doing what far too few lawmakers on either side of the aisle are willing to do right now, asking the uncomfortable questions. Not just about whether mega mergers serve the public interest, but whether the very institutions designed to protect that interest have already been compromised. Senator Cantwell put her finger on the central contradiction of the pro-consolidation argument, and it's a contradiction that the industry's own witnesses struggled to resolve. On one hand, they told us broadcasters are thriving 500% growth in a decade, Mr. Ruddy reminded us. On the other hand, they told us these same broadcasters are so battered by big tech that they need to merge just to survive. Well, which is it? You can't simultaneously be a booming industry and a dying one. You can't cry poverty while posting record profits. Chairman Brendan Carr, a Trump appointee who has made no secret of his ideological sympathies, appears to have already made up his mind on deregulation before the public comment process has even concluded. Senator Cantwell called it what it is, a prejudiced process, and she's right. When the chairman of the nation's top communications regulator is signaling outcomes before hearing the evidence, we don't have regulation, we have rubber stamping. This is not how independent agencies are supposed to function in a democracy. But then again, the erosion of institutional independence has become something of a signature feature of the Trump era. Stephen Waldman, a man who has spent decades studying the local news ecosystem, invoked Ronald Reagan. Trust but verify, he said. And he's right. If Congress is going to loosen ownership caps, the absolute bare minimum should be binding commitments to maintain or increase local reporting staff. Not vague promises, not corporate mission statements. Enforceable obligations. Within a decade, Clear Channel had swallowed over 1,200 stations and local programming was decimated. 75% of Americans in both Democratic and Republican polls oppose further media consolidation. 75%. In an era when we can't agree on virtually anything, 3 out of 4 Americans are saying the same thing. Don't let these corporations get any bigger. When was the last time you saw that kind of bipartisan consensus on anything? And yet, here we are, with an FCC chairman ready to hand the keys to the kingdom to a handful of media conglomerates while the public overwhelmingly says no. That's not saving local news, that's performing last rites on it while pocketing the inheritance. What Senator Cantwell understood and what this hearing made painfully clear is that the fight for local news is ultimately a fight for democratic accountability. When your local station is owned by a conglomerate headquartered 2,000 miles away, the incentive to cover your mayor, your water quality, your police department evaporates. And when that coverage disappears, corruption doesn't. It just goes unchecked.